Hi guys, and welcome back to the restoration. I know it's been a while since I posted a video on this, but my job works me quite a bit in the summer. My wife has family activities planned, so I hardly get the time that I want and need to do on this. But I've been plugging away at it a little bit at a time. And guys, after 5 years, I finally got it running again. So she's a running. And if you want to see that, stick around. But first I have to tell you, we're a little bit alarmed right now because a short clairvoyant escaped custody. So we're asking everyone's cooperation to please be on the lookout for this small medium at large.
I get it, small, medium, and large. That's funny, Jason.
Every part of this project has intimidated me, and this carburetor's no exception. I have never had luck with carburetors. But my buddy Ken told me, he says, all you have to do is screw in each one of the screws, the adjustment screws, and that will tell you how many turns you have to do when you put it back together. All you have to do is screw them all the way in and then count those number of turns to go back out. Works like a champ. I guess this carburetor is one of those that are common, so I bought a rebuild kit for it. And now I'm just taking apart the internals and I'm going to rebuild it. And also, I've had this gunk carburetor cleaner for almost 2 years. And so I'm going to put it in this stuff to just see how that will work in cleaning it. So while part of this is in the parts cleaner, I'm taking the other parts that are rusty and putting it in Evapo-Rust. So while the other parts of the carburetor are cleaning, I decided to get the fuel pump cleaned up. So I'm getting the gasket off of it. Now I'm going to clean it, wire brush it, and get that thing looking pretty sparkly. And now it's time to clean up this electrical component. I think it's part of the voltage regulator or something like that. Now guys, this is how you improvise a wire wheel. I don't have a wire wheel on like a sander or grinder. So this is how I improvise with a drill and a clamp. And it turned out pretty good.
Well, this says let it sit in 20 minutes, but this has been in overnight, so it's been in there over 24 hours. So let's see what it did. Okay, now it's supposed to rinse it with water.
After soaking for 24 hours and then brushing it in this water, it cleaned it up pretty good. There were so many things that I needed to wire wheel that I went onto Harbor Freight and got a grinder and put a couple wire wheels on them, and it really worked like a champ. Now everything is clean and ready for reassembly. As I'm putting it together, I still find places that I need to polish, so I go on and polish it.
Well, I had a donator carb, and I noticed something on here. They had a spring inside of that, and there's probably, looking at it, probably some kind of a check ball that went in there too, but mine didn't have that. So I'm going to take this spring and go ahead and put it in there, and then this thing will go on. Thought that wasn't making a lot of sense. This has to be on the top here, and now it'll be able to open up the whole way. I was wondering about that. Anyway.
So I started cleaning this old oil seal to put back on to fix the oil leak. Now, if you remember from the last episode, I had a massive oil leak coming out of that bevel gearbox. So, from all I know what to do, I'm going to have to take the bevel gearbox out and try to figure out why that seal's not sealing. And I cleaned up and prepared to put in the old oil seal if that will seal it up. Since the whole back of the tractor's coming off, I took the cherry picker that I had, the little crane, and gonna hold up the front end with this little sling and then remove the whole back end.
I'm excited and I'm upset that all I needed to do was take this bushing from off of this side, put it on the other side. I didn't have to take apart this tractor like I did. Hopefully it'll go back together real quick because all the bolts are laid out. But anyway, I'm excited I don't have to take this bevel gearbox apart. But man, all I had to do was just pull this off, put it on the other side, it was done. No leaks. Anyway, here we go. So bushing 1 is tight up against the seal. There's bushing 2, which this will slide on to. And I think this is going to be marvelous now. There that goes. It's so simple once you know how to do it.
Now, I know this was a dumb mistake, guys, but just so you know what happened is there were 2 bushings. So I thought one went on one side and one went on the other. It's been a long time since I took it apart, and it made sense because they did fit like that, but it just didn't go like that.
Guys, hey, there's a little bit of good news out of this. I was able to get the spring back in the correct position. I realized that if I turned it around the other way, it goes on where it's supposed to in the diagram, and there's no fouling. And so that's a little bit of a light at the end of that tunnel. Anyway, continuing on.
Because everything is so clean now, and I did have things laid out, it did go back together a lot quicker than I had to the very first time I took all of this stuff apart.
Well, you're supposed to fill that bevel gearbox from back here, but what I'm going to do is fill it from the top and watch back here now. There should be no leaks. And there you can see, it's at the top of that one. I filled it through that one and just watched it over here. And no leaks. I knew that was going to happen because that bushing one, the other bushing was not even touching the seal. So this one's wrapped around the seal now. So bevel gearbox fixed, and it was something so simple.
Now the back is back together. It's time to get this motor ready to start running again for the first time in 5 years.
Well, I clear coated this spring. Kind of like how I do that. It pulls it apart and clean all between it and get it painted between it. But this is just cleared between it. Now this goes back on the engine. I hate springs.
Now guys, I just have to know if this thing will run. So I take the electrical and connect it back up. Even though it's not in the spots that it's supposed to be, I'm going to get it together so I can get some spark and get this thing running if I can. Now that I know it's wired at least to give me spark, time to get some gas in there and see if this baby will fire up.
Okay, now that I see that the motor will fire, I'm going to go ahead and put some fuel through the fuel pump into the carburetor, put a brand new battery on there, and give it a shot. What I didn't realize at this time is that I had put a little bit too much fuel in it and flooded it.
Once again, I know I forgot the name of the electrical component, but you can see it over there sparking. That's actually supposed to be connected to the frame, but right now I'm just having it sitting there just to see if it'll run. And yes, I'm excited. It's showing that I found the correct C-clamp. Daddy had wire on there. I just want to adjust this drive shaft so there's not too much wobble in it because there was a little bit of rubbing on it last time, so I want to make sure that doesn't happen.
Now I go back and look at my parts diagram. Now that the motor's running, the bevel gearbox is fixed. Start putting things together piece by piece on the frame here.
All right, time to get this thing on here, which is the variable speed handle.
And everything that need to be greased, I greased up now since it's going back together for good, and it's going to be a beautiful fit here.
Once I got this part on, I realized I needed to take it back off to put it on a different way. And so now I'm struggling trying to get that thing back off.
It looks like there's a bushing that goes in there. I'm glad I looked at that on the diagram, because it looks like this bushing goes in this little hole here. I painted it so it's a little tight, so I'm gonna have to squeeze that in there.
Getting this component on here correctly was tough because of that spring. That was a real tough spring, strong spring, and I don't like springs. And finally, after struggling and some scratch paint, it's on. And she's starting to look like a tractor once again, guys.
Quiet, ladies, quiet. It's time for Tractor Chat.
Hi, and welcome back to Tractor Chat, the down-to-earth tractor talk show, and not like those other snobbish tractor talk shows. For those of you who are just tuning in, you've missed a phenomenal show. Zoe Saldana was here. Zoe! Thank you for stopping in and teaching us the proper way how to remove and install oil seals. Now, we all knew that she knew petroleum oils and lubricants, but who knew that she was the guru on oil seals? Zoe Saldana too, congratulations. She just became the spokesmodel of International Harvester. Once again, thank you, Zoe. My producers are telling me we only have time for one more viewer letter. And this one is coming to us from Anaheim, California. And her name is Cindy, and she says, Dear Jster 1963, I am a model and I would like to come on to Tractor Chat. However, your producers are telling me that I cannot until I reach supermodel status. Is this true, Jster? Well, I have to tell you, this is true. This talk show is set up for the supermodel and a hot Hollywood starlet. So I would say once you become a supermodel, please give my producers a call. Oh, breaking news, this just in. This is coming to us live from our news correspondent, Tad Smidgen. And he reports at the Malibu tractor pulls, Britney Spears has refused to stand up for the tractor anthem. She is protesting that John Deere tractors are not well represented like the other models. Ladies and gentlemen, let's just keep our fingers crossed that this doesn't start a boycott like it did in 1992 when Madonna refused to stand up for the tractor anthem, which triggered 3 months of no tractor pulls. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's all the time we have today. We'll see you next time. Same tractor time, same tractor channel. Hi, and welcome back to Tractor Chat, the down-to-earth tractor show. Whoa.